Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Mouthful with Marcus. Today we're chatting with Stephanie O'Donnell from South Australia's award-winning gelati brand 48 Flavours, who many have claimed serves the best ice cream in the world. And in this episode, Stephanie and I discuss how 48 Flavours went from its humble beginnings to 6 successful stores in Adelaide, diving into their focus on creating quality and the importance of great customer service. But that's not all. Today I'm also announcing probably the coolest collaboration I've ever done. I now have my own ice cream flavour at all 48 Flavours stores, which is why to celebrate we're giving away a $50 voucher to a random person who views the episode and leaves a comment. And that is that. Let's get into the episode.
It feels weird. I feel like I'm on radio. Whereas right now I feel like it doesn't really matter that the cameras are on because we're just having a normal chat. Whereas that makes it like...
Yeah, you're on air.
Reporting live, BBC News.
Okay, Steph, that might have just been the candid opening to the podcast. Guys, for a bit of context, both of us are nervous. This is my 10th or 11th episode, and I'm still just as nervous now as I was on day one. You will have just heard the introduction. 48 Flavours is awesome. Steph, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us what is 48 Flavours?
Okay, so 48 Flavours is a gelati. Well, we have 6 gelati stores across Adelaide. We sell, obviously, gelati, milkshakes, cakes. We do events. Milkshakes. I said milkshakes. I said milkshake twice. So we just sell really amazing gelati.
If I were to put it in a short sentence, I would say the best gelati I've ever had. It is honestly so good.
Well, I'm proud of that. I'm very proud of what we do.
This has quickly become an ad, guys. 48 Flavours has been by far, since before I was working with 48 Flavours, my favourite ice cream ever. They got stores all over the state. And you guys are known for, obviously, your 48 flavours, but the breadth of flavours. You've got really, really good classics like your pistachios and your dark chocolates, but then you're also known for like weird flavours like durian, which smells like poo.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We can definitely get into durian soon. But I definitely think that that's what brought us to even the name of 48 Flavours, was to highlight straight away that we had a really big range. And it was always going to be important for us to have, like, obviously, like you mentioned, the classics, but also have room to play with some really interesting flavours that people might not have tried before, flavours that celebrate different cultures, flavours that allow for different dietary requirements. We've got 17 vegan certified flavours as well. So the whole idea of the range is for there to just be a flavour and a treat for everyone, I guess.
Guys, we've got a big announcement coming for the end of the episode to do with their flavours. So make sure to watch the thing through. We're doing a giveaway at the end. Let's get into the next question. Steph, tell me about what your role is at 48 Flavours. Let's just start there. The whole point of this podcast is to, obviously, you're part of a big business, right? I look up to you, even though we work together and whatever. I look at you and I think, okay, well, you definitely have stories and lessons and things you've learned along the way from building 6 stores in Adelaide, 6 popular stores, kick-ass stores. I want to take these lessons and, there might be creators out there might be other young entrepreneurs out there who can listen to this and hear tips from what you've gained. Yeah. And I figured, obviously, we're going to start from scratch, bring it back to the beginning of 48 Flavours. But for you, I want to know where you tie into this, and then we'll go right back.
Yeah. Okay, so look, from the very beginning, I mean, it started when I was 17. I'm now 31, so that's a really long time.
A lot of reps as well.
Yeah, a lot of reps. So obviously started just scooping in store. Then when we came to Adelaide, I was involved in the production. I then went on to doing some training and recruiting, and now I'm a little bit more heavily involved in the marketing side of things. But now that I'm a mum of 2, I dabble here, there, and everywhere where it kind of suits everyone.
You're like a soldier. Like the work that guys, something big is coming by the end of this episode, but over the past couple of weeks / months / I feel like we've been working on this forever. Yeah. I've seen you more intimately and seeing the way that you move between things all the time. Yeah. Raising kids, I'm scared.
Look, I can't tell you the amount of meetings that we've had where I've been changing a nappy during the meeting. So I'm like, should I turn the camera off? I don't know whether Marcus is ready to see this.
Yeah, we'll be on a Zoom call. We're talking strategy, getting ready for this promotion. Yeah, just 1 second.
So, man, it's a juggle.
Let's go to the conception of 48 Flavours. Now, I know your dad had a big part in the beginnings of this before you invested, and we will get to that. You didn't start here in Adelaide.
No, so we actually started in regional Victoria. in Mildura. My dad's been in business forever.
He was an accountant before this, guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, even my mum as well, like they've always been involved in business, and my brother and I have always been around business. Even going back to my grandfather, he was in business as well. So
yeah, it's in your blood.
It's very much in our blood. But yeah, we started in Mildura. My dad was doing, he had a catering company at the same time. So there was a number of different things that appealed to the ice cream industry. For us, we were looking in terms of the need in Mildura. There was only really one place in Mildura where you could get ice cream, and funnily enough, that's what we kind of did as a bit of, one-on-one time with Dad, and like me and Michael and Dad, like he'd take us for ice cream, and it was like a nice little breakup of the crazy work life that he had at the time. But for the catering side of things, it was more quiet in the summer period. So he wanted something that was going to be really busy in the summer period whilst also maintaining the catering business and doing a bit of everything. So the way that the product was more as it relates to like a Western idea of ice cream
Rather than gelati.
Yeah, we definitely got into more the creative side of things when we came to Adelaide. But yeah, started in Mildura, and then there was only so much that we could really grow and scale in that kind of a regional area. So obviously brought it to Adelaide, and yeah, we started at Gouger Street, which was close to we still have this close to the central markets. Got a lot of inspiration from the central markets, and yeah, it just kind of grew from strength to strength from there.
So from there, the Gouger Street store it's not the flagship store anymore. Obviously you've got, we're going to get into, of your 6 stores, you've got your baby, you've got the neglected one, you've got the really popular one. Gouger store was the foundational, the real, obviously you've got your conceptions in Mildura, but the Gouger Street store has a lot of history there, right? Now, I've read somewhere that when you first started in Gouger, it was quite slow. Yes, on one hand, you were able to go to the markets, and we'll get into the production of your ice cream. Obviously, you're very big on using fresh produce. Hearing Adelaide, South Australian produce, that's what gives you your quality, which being next to the market is amazing for. Shout out Adelaide Central Market. We live in a really good place.
Yeah, we do.
Now, it started really, really slow, and I've read that your dad thought to himself, okay, how can I figure out what the market wants? How can I learn what they're after? So he started taking his ice cream and going around the markets and going around Gouger Street and getting people's feedback, right?
Well, it was more so, it wasn't necessarily that he was taking the product that we were doing there, but he was going into places like Asian grocers, finding out from them what are the sorts of products, what are the sorts of flavors that are really popular that people are buying, and kind of reverse engineering, and how can we bring those flavors to life when it comes to gelati.
Why? Because I've got the thing here. He did all this to understand his target market. Now, obviously, for young business owners, a target market is like the demographic, psychographic, the type, the archetype of people that you sell to, and you are better able to sell your product. Brackets help them and give them a solution if you know exactly who those people are, what their problems are, what they're after. Why did he go to the places around his area? Why did he go to these Asian grocers at the start?
Well, look, there's no denying we're in Chinatown. In Gouger Street, we're in Chinatown. A lot of our demographic was an Asian demographic. And to do flavors like classic Italian flavors, that isn't what people were getting excited about.
Although a great flavor isn't what the target market wants.
Exactly. So then comes flavors like durian. So I don't know
flavor.
For everyone, for no one that has heard of durian before, durian is a fruit very popular in Southeast Asia, and it's known as the stinky fruit. So people say that it stinks like it smells like hell, tastes like heaven, but it's a very specific
That's a good
taste.
way to put it. Yeah.
And this was really one big learning experience for me. So when he went into the Asian grocer and he got the durian, he came back and we made it. And Dad got me to try the flavor. And he's like, this is what I'm going to put in the store tomorrow. I'm like, there is no way you're putting this in the store tomorrow. And he's like, people will love it. You just got to trust the process. Like, it's going to happen, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you're not putting that in the cabinet. Like,
smells like ass.
You can't do it. Anyway. The next day I came into work and we'd already sold 10 litres of it, because nowhere in Adelaide was there someone selling fresh durian in an ice cream. So people were buzzing out, because it was when you think about ice cream as a pastime type of nostalgic experience for people that were from Southeast Asia, where they were buying durian and that was all in excess, to have that in a flavour that in an ice cream was something really special, that it just went up from there.
And it's interesting, like, you know, you play a big role in 48 Flavours marketing, right? And for so long, I always thought marketing as like making advertising, communicating, running ads, making videos, making content. That there is marketing 101. What do the people want?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it in demand? Let me oh my God, it's in demand. It's selling out, right? So that was your first big taste of I'm going to say success, but obviously this is still very much early days.
Yeah.
It's interesting, we're talking about understanding what the market wants, yet the next thing we're going to talk about, which is your Gorgonzola ice cream, which sent 48 Flavours to the moon, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily exactly what the market wants. For some context, Stephanie might correct me on this, 48 Flavours entered a competition in 2017, the Gelato World Tour in Italy. They won a world-renowned competition for an ice cream flavour that was based around a cheese platter. Is that correct?
Kind of. So we first entered in 2014 and we came second for the roasted honey walnut crunch. And then it's kind of like the Olympics, like that qualifies you to go to the next one. So out of 36 contenders, we were the only ones from Australia that were going. So we wanted to do something that was interesting. We wanted to do something that would make us stand out. And from Dad's perspective, he thought, well, figs, gorgonzola cheese, like not only is that interesting, but that's really popular within the Italian demographic. Okay, so he thought that was going to be... So
there is demand for it. Because I was like, who wants gorgonzola in their ice cream?
Yeah, look, it was, we wanted to go big or go home. Go hard or go home? Yeah. Go big or go home? Whatever they're saying is, we really wanted to have a big go at it. Yeah. And we gained a lot of confidence having come second in the first round, that we thought we'll go and we'll do something really exciting with it. But when we actually got there, well, not that I got the Guernsey to go, but when they actually went there, so it was my brother, my mum and my dad that went. I was holding down the fort at Guja at the time. But when they went there, it was, when you go to Italy, the flavours are relatively classic. So they come to realise that it was more of a risk than...
You've gone to the home ground of Italy and you said, here's a flavour you've never seen, eat it.
Exactly. But so there's 20,000 people that come to the actual event. And there's a couple of ways that it's judged. So the judges judge the product on obviously look, texture, taste and everything like that. And then the contenders have to also vote for their favourite flavour. And then the 20,000 people that come vote for the People's Choice. Yeah. So we didn't come first, second or third in the overall, but for the 20,000 people that came, we were the most favoured flavour.
Which I would say is worth more from a what do the people want perspective.
Yeah, but the interesting thing was when they actually got that award, Dad called me and he was almost a little bit down about it. Like I don't think he conceptualized like that it was still a really big win, because he thought, well, we didn't win first place. So he called, he's like, yeah, we did okay. Like we got this. And then I'm at Guja Street. And then obviously we had a lot of press that
he comes happened. Home, he was on like Sunrise or something. He was on, I watched
SBS.
Numerous TV things were on there. So people were going crazy about it. That's congratulations. Awesome. Yeah. Can I rewind back to the durian versus gorgonzola?
Yeah.
Durian is one example where you've understood what the local market in Guja Street, Chinatown, which was your only store at the time, wanted, and you sold it. Now, you've gone to this competition, and my first question is, why are these competitions valuable to you and your brand? Why did you enter them in the first place? Let's start there.
Look, even just going to Italy, when you're involved in competitions like that, even from a networking perspective, it's really powerful. Networking in terms of people that you can purchase machines from, different suppliers, all these sorts of things. Like it's really credible just in that. I mean, and you get to go to Italy and experience 36 different flavors from 36 industries. It's really amazing. Yeah. But in terms of credibility, it's something that Dad always wanted to be able to do something that he could pursue excellence in some way. And this was just a form of
something to show for it as well.
Exactly. It was a form, it was a way to explore flavors in a different way than he'd ever done in the past, whether it was in cafes, restaurants, catering, to do something that was really unique, really different, and still pursue, like I mentioned, excellence in that field. So it was a good way to do that. And there's a number of awards that we still do ongoing from a state perspective. So we still attend the South Australian Dairy Awards every year as well.
So you're saying you're doing that from a brand perspective, having that credibility and the validity of being an award-winning ice cream is it's the truth, but it's also just like when people hear that, they know instantly, well, you know, we are excellent, we've pursued excellence, but here's what we have to show for it.
Yeah.
I guess the parallel I was trying to draw was, you know, it's funny. Both are people's choice, durian and gorgonzola, if you really look at it that way.
Yeah.
Is it, in the long run, I don't know if this is the right frame question, but I'm going to go big or go home. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think's been more valuable to you? And this is probably a question for later. Shit, fuck. It's all right. What's more valuable to you? Having the people's choice credibility of an award-winning ice cream that happened in Italy for a flavour, is it popular in real life here?
It's not one of our top 10.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Would you rather something like that, which is giving you this big amount of press, and we're going to go on to the next stage of 48 Flavours going to the moon, or this idea that you've just understood what the market wants and you've made this thing such as durian? Are they going hand in hand? Is one more valuable? Are you thinking we should go further on awards, or should we go further on SA and what they want?
I think the best thing about what it is that we do is that we get to have both.
Yeah.
So as long as within your cabinet you're highlighting some really interesting flavors that people are going to come just for the sake of trying. They might not even like the product. It might not be something, they might like it, but it might not be something that they get a large tub in.
I'll try this blue cheese. I won't eat it again, but I'll try it.
Exactly, but it gets people talking, and I think that's equally as important as having something in store that people are willing to get a litre of chocolate or a litre of vanilla. They're flavors that you can't exclude because they're what people want and on a regular basis type of thing. But to have flavors that serve you in different ways, to have flavors like the pear and gorgonzola, that it's just something interesting for people to try and to experience. It celebrates what we have here in Australia. It celebrated our relationship at the time with Smelly Cheese Co. in the markets as well. So we ended up leading to like a collaborative pack that we did as well with the heaps of other cheeses that we tried. And so, yeah, I guess it's about having always a variety in store. So
at this stage now, we're going down this theme of people's choice. You have a system. Use both. That's the system, right?
Yeah.
Now we're at the stage where you've gotten some really positive press on TV. You've won this award. You've already got a pretty good system for selling ice cream on Gouger Street. Now it's time to go to the moon, right? This is where I want to ask you personally, because I've never invested in any business other than my own, right?
Yeah.
And it's not really, I'm not taking my money and investing in it. I'm just living on, my money is my business, right?
Yeah.
Steph's choice to invest and set her career around building a business. Do you want to talk to me about that time, how it came about, and the main thing I want to ask is what cemented your choice to invest versus pursuing other, because didn't you say you were pursuing a whole different career at the time?
Yes, I was actually studying at uni to be a social worker. So I know this sounds like very different to the business that I'm involved in today, but I've always enjoyed dealing with people and being around people and having those conversations. So although it seemed really separate and far away, there is a small kind of link there and that personable nature of what it is that we do. But I guess, so how it kind of started was we outgrew the facility at Gouger in terms of manufacturing there. So we then decided to build a manufacturing plant at McGill. And at that stage, there was really, it was kind of ironic. We hadn't actually intended for that to even be a front of house space.
It's just a place to make ice cream, and that was
Exactly. But my partner and I were, like my dad spoke to us and said, look, we have the opportunity that if you wanted to, you guys can run the front of house from the McGill store, and you guys can
it can be your thing.
It can be your thing, and you guys can invest. And for me at the time, it was obviously something. I was still trying to maintain uni at the time as well and kind of do both. But it's one of those things when an opportunity comes up, like at the end of the day, I'm 31, but we're going to be working likely until we're 80.
Oh,
so it's not something that whatever you choose to do now, you have to choose to do forever. And I guess the lesson in that was just taking the opportunity where the opportunity came from and where the opportunity arose, I should say. And also having worked with and alongside my dad for such a long period of time.
You could see proof.
Yeah, well, not necessarily I could see proof, but I saw the opportunity to be able to be involved in something with him and how special that could be if we turned things around and it became super successful. And after my dad struggled for however many years doing in a number of different businesses, seeing something come to fruition, something that he created, I thought, what could be more special than that? Yeah. So that was definitely something that pushed me in that direction. I became a director of the company from then.
And the reason you made the point about the fact that we'll be working till we're 80 is, let's just say, tangible to the audience.
Yeah.
You've just said, what a special opportunity with my dad.
Yeah.
I've seen him struggle. We're on the way up. I want to join in on this.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I still do have other passions. And yes, exactly. I am choosing to invest in this business, but that doesn't mean it's the only thing I'll ever do ever, but it's here now, I should take it. Exactly.
And the capacity to what I've been doing with the business now versus what I was doing then has changed as well. So I'm now finding, as much as I wanted to eventually exit and continue on with social work, continue on with another career path, there's different things now that I'm starting to get. Oh, I'm really starting to feel a bit of passion there. Like I'm really starting to enjoy this.
The skills.
Yeah. Even like in training and stuff like that as well. Like I do enjoy that side of things when it comes with the customer service and everything like that. I do feel like I'm feeling a little bit more confident that I do have something to offer. And I'm obviously continuously learning. So I might be doing this for another 10 years. I might be doing it for another 5 years. But for the meantime, I'm just going to do the best that I can, and yeah.
I'm gonna I don't know, air out information. No, I don't know what the best way to say this is. Guys, Steph at her level, who's been doing it this long and has her set of skills, was nervous as all fuck before she got here on this podcast.
Oh my God.
Like you said, as you've gone on, continuing doing the thing no matter what, you've gotten better, and you've, like you said, you've found your confidence.
Yeah.
This podcast is flowing very well.
Okay, I'm glad.
To show that when you're nervous, it's because you're about to do something great. Okay, back to family. Now, there are a lot of family businesses out there. I'm from Italian background, so I've heard a lot of horror stories of family businesses. Like people say, never do business with your family, and then other people say, always do business with your family. On one hand, the never do business from your family, based on my understanding, comes from, business needs a level of professionalism. It needs structure, strictness, rules, and when you're family, you kind of bleed between the rules and the lines. Whereas on the other side, it's the benefit of that, which is, I trust you, we are blood, we're going to work harder at this as a family than anyone that we could possibly ever pay.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit, and you go together. What have been the pros and cons you've learned of working with your father, your brother?
My brother.
And what tips can you give to the other people who are deciding, because we're going to talk about investments in a moment.
Yeah.
There might be someone my age now who wants to start a sandwich deli, and they're like, I need a partner. I need a little bit more capital to get this shop or to do this fit out.
Yeah.
I trust my brother or I trust my cousin. I want to get in bed with him? But in business terms, that just means get that intimate, because business, you got to trust people, right?
Yeah. Look, I think in the very, very beginning, when this is even before I invested, just being in a family business itself, like having moved from Mildura when I was 20, like I still had a lot of friends in Mildura, and there was things like 21st and things like that where I had to say, no, I can't come back, because at that time we were using as much of our own resources to be working within the business, so that we didn't have as higher expenses when it comes to wages and everything else. We were using a lot of those resources for ourselves. So
you're saying it wouldn't have been feasible to go back to Mildura anyway?
For every 21st that I had at that period of time. So in terms of like some of the struggles outside of just the family, it's just people understanding the responsibility that you have. Even if dad didn't say, no, you can't go, you can't, like he was never someone that restricted me, but there was that
sacrifice,
internal obligation that I felt like, okay, this is important to be able to help and to be useful where I can. So there's one kind of component of it.
I hope my kids have that attitude one day. Like I want to work with my kids, and I love just hearing that. I can imagine, Brian, if you're listening, shout out to your daughter. I want to be useful where I can. Like,
yeah.
Can you imagine, you have kids, can you imagine your kids saying, Mum, how can I help you? I want to be competent for you. What can I do?
Look, my parents, regardless of anything that they've gone throughout business, throughout their lives, like not that we ever lived a rich lifestyle, but we never felt like we went without.
Yeah.
As regardless of how much stress was involved at different periods of time. So it was always going to be right for me to honour that as much as possible and to be able to help and to contribute.
I feel the exact same way about my nonna. Every time I don't want to do more work or I feel tired, I think, Nonna didn't even get a choice.
Yeah,
I've got the choice, and that's why I have to make the choice, because she's, again, I've never felt like I've been without. I wouldn't say we're a rich family.
Yeah.
But damn, if I fuck this up for them,
Yeah.
all this work my nonna's done, all this work your dad's done, I feel very sense of pride to keep working for her.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Pros and cons, sorry.
So
Sacrifice?
Sacrifice is definitely a big one. Cons,
or the internal responsibility to do so.
Exactly. But cons definitely, like, look, you're always going to have different opinions. Definitely generationally, there's big opinions, different experience that he has than areas of the business that I don't even touch or have much of a knowledge about whatsoever. And there's also areas like, for example, social media is a big one. I can understand and respect that component a lot more and the value that has in a business. Not that he doesn't respect it, but his expertise is definitely in other areas. For example, when we had Gelatery, if you're coming back to why we weren't as busy than perhaps we are now, I mean, I don't even think we had a social media account when we first started. Yeah. Like, this was in 2016 or whatever it was. So it wasn't, we didn't really have that there as well. So, but yeah, working with my mum, working with my brother, working with my dad, like, it's little tiffs, like there's always going to be that's going to happen. But when my brother, even my cousin works very closely with us as well, and her dad and my mum are brother and sister, and they're very charismatic. They know how to work the room. They know we've all got a very unique
skill that you bring to the table
when it comes to dealing with people, working with people, from a customer service component. And my brother's even more amazing. Like, he's fantastic when it comes to customer service.
So you're saying the pros and the cons of the differing people inside of the business.
Yeah.
The con is like, all right, well, we're family. If there's a problem, we don't want problems in the family. But also, these differences are the reasons that our pooled resources are better. Brian focuses on the product. Stephanie focuses on the marketing. Customer service comes from this person.
Yeah. So, and look, I'm very fortunate that Dad puts a lot of trust in me as well. Sometimes even when I feel like are you sure you're going to trust me with that? Like, sometimes I feel like a bit of an imposter in the environment, but he does. He puts a lot of faith in me when it comes to different ideas that I have. Sometimes we'll butt heads when it comes to certain decisions, but this is where, moving on to what you were mentioning about investment and having other people involved, this is where getting involved with Rad Ventures, which is a family investment company that we became involved in just prior to opening Paralawi, has been really helpful and conducive in the relationship as well, because it's kind of like there's not just him and I as the director, there's now a third
buffer.
Yeah, there's a third director with separate opinions, and we like go to board meetings and we have roundtable discussions about certain things versus Dad and I at the dinner table having business discussions about this, that, and the other. There's that formality, there's that third party, and that's been really helpful as well.
I think the main key extraction point that I'm getting from this is, regardless of whether you're going in by yourself, in with your family, in with friends, in with investment companies, no matter who you're going into business with, provided you need that pooling of resources, which you've just established.
Yeah.
Like when you go alone, you go fast. When you go when you go alone, you go fast. When you go together, you go far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this pooling of resources is super handy, but the key, regardless of which choice you choose for who you go with, trust is the number one key.
Yeah.
Trust is everything. If you can, back each other in and know that
we just got to be aligned with the same goals.
Yeah.
If you've got the same, if you're very transparent with what it is that you're trying to achieve, where it is that you want to go, and that's why we we've had such a great relationship with Jeevan from the investment group at Rad Ventures and the family, because they saw what it was that we were doing and they wanted to get involved, and they really do everything they can to maintain the same values that we've been pushing from the onset. Not compromising on quality. It's different. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to touch it. Yeah.
Speaking of those values, quality is one of your big values, and you just said it.
Exactly.
I've got a quote here from Brian. I read it somewhere online. I'll credit it in the description. Quote, Brian says, from an accountant's background, you may look to get the cheapest product and get the most value for money. Whereas we didn't. We wanted the best product we could find, the best ingredients we could use, irrespective of the price. This approach has led to over 30% growth year on year. I don't know when that was written, but you guys have a big focus on quality. Obviously, we've discussed how you might have achieved that quality, your values, your investment, your pooling of resources.
Yeah.
Why is there such a focus on quality for you guys?
Because look, I think if you're confident with the quality of what it is that you're producing, everything else becomes ancillary to that. You're more confident when it comes to your marketing side of things, because it's like Dad always says, I'm confident in the product it is that we're doing. Now go ahead and market it. And then you look at other different ways that you can have more people trying that product, as an example.
And quality, because of the fact that it's so good, it sells itself in the future.
You can be confident in what it is that you're selling, even from behind the counter type of thing. So obviously developing and formulating the right base, getting the best ingredients that you can at all times possible, being seasonal whenever you can as well. I actually was thinking of this Anthony Bourdain quote, and I can't even freaking think of what it actually said, but he was talking about more the American fast food industry and everything like that. And he was talking about the selfishness of the industry when people were able to get crappy tomatoes all year round, and how that changed the perspective when people forgot what real tomatoes actually tasted like, when you can have it all year round. So it's about celebrating different produce when it's in season, when we can, and using the best that we can source at the time.
And you've mentioned things in the past about, like, let's say you've got some flavors that I've written down here: strawberry and basil, fig sorbet, plum sorbet, peach sorbet. These are flavors that, while really, really amazing in their season, we will not compromise. You do not get peach sorbet when it is not in season. Full stop. And it's because of the fact that it's seasonal. I get your point about Anthony Bourdain. He's essentially saying, why are we selling tomatoes when it's not summer? Full stop. I understand tomatoes are a staple.
So you can have it, but it's not going to be great. So let's remember what things are actually supposed to taste like.
Can you talk to me? I'm going to turn that camera back on, and we're still going to keep rolling. Can you talk to me about the seasonality? Can you talk to me about seasonality and the role that's played in producing your flavors and why that's important to you? You've also got here, discuss the idea of using real fruit versus relying on pastes and things like that. Talk to me about the product and the creation of the product.
So with our sorbets, just as an example, we use a kilo of real fruit in all of our sorbets. So where that becomes really important is particularly not just in taste, but particularly when it comes from a textural perspective. When you're relying heavily on paste and you're not using the real fruit and real product, there's really, you can't really hide when it comes to sorbets, because the texture becomes, a lot of people, when they think of gelati, there's some people that think, it's slushy like.
Because it's so smooth. And
No, as in it's that ice. Like when icy, you're getting a crap gelati, it tastes real icy.
Yeah, crap ice cream in general.
Exactly. And that's all to do with the sugar content, with the amount of real product that you're using and all that kind of stuff. So that's where using seasonal produce and stuff wherever possible is really important, because particularly when it comes to texture, first and foremost.
And you're saying, like, let's say you did want, I'm guessing peach is a summer fruit, yeah? Sorry, forgive me, I didn't want to get that wrong. The pastes would be the cheat code to sell peach sorbet in winter, whereas you're saying, sorry, we're just not doing peach sorbet until it's summer, full stop.
So we don't do any peach sorbets with any paste. It's straight real fruit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whereas you're saying, perhaps, I'm not naming names, but perhaps other places, to make sure that their customers are happy in the winter, they're willing to compromise product to have it during that time.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But it's really obvious when that happens and when that's the case. And that's why particularly, that's why I feel like Gelati has had such a bad rap, is because the people have had those experiences where they've been having certain sorbets as a particular one, where people have tried the sorbets where there's no real fruit in the product. It's all sugar. It's all crappy paste.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, this is what Gelati is. I don't want Gelati. I want real ice cream, So it kind of turns them away from an otherwise really good product.
So at this stage, you've had your early days. You've learned about marketing and understanding. You've learned understanding the market. You've learned about credibility and award-winning stuff. You've also learned about pulling together resources to go far. At this stage, it sounds to me like you have a pretty good system with flavors that sell themselves because quality is number one, right? Yeah. I've read that you have the goal of 48 flavors reaching every corner of the state. Above and beyond the fundamentals of a business either growing or dying, and I believe that even in life, if you're not trying to stretch yourself and grow yourself, then you're atrophying. And with the way that the world moves this fast, atrophying is just, you're dying. You're either going forward or backwards. You're never in the same spot.
Yeah.
Why is this your goal? Above and beyond the fact that yes, you're in business to grow.
So why more stores versus less stores?
Why?
Look, economies of scale is a big one. And being able to spread your resources over 6 to 8 stores is a lot of the times more profitable than spreading it over one. So I think things like...
Are you saying in terms of, forgive me, just for the people who don't, because I know why you're saying that. Yeah. Is it because ice cream, the product itself is I'm not going to say low level, but it's a lower ticket product. So you need to sell a lot of ice cream scoops to make good money versus selling, let's say, houses, right?
Look, there's an element of that. But when we talk about economies of scale more specifically, that's more talking about spreading costs like administration, systems administration and marketing over 6 stores where you're getting sales from 6 stores versus if you're doing it from
regardless
one.
Of the ticket price.
Yeah, so it's essentially it's sharing fixed costs over more spaces, I guess.
That would happen in one. So let's say Guja's really break. This isn't even for the audience. I'm asking you now. So So let's say when you first had Guja, you're saying like certain fees that would happen at that store. If you've got 6 stores making money via the same franchise or same system. Yeah. That cost of that store actually goes down and is subsidized.
There's definitely an element of that for sure. Okay. Yeah.
So either or, your goal is to...
Look, it's definitely not the only reason why we want to expand.
Give me more there.
It's not just like a profit thing.
Economies of scale.
Economies of scale. No, it's definitely not the only reason why. Like, look, at the end of the day...
Also, you shouldn't feel ashamed for wanting to grow your business.
Yeah, that's look, at the end of the day, it's about being leaders in what it is that we're doing. We want to be leaders of the market in Adelaide. And to do that, there are so many communities in Adelaide and so many areas where the communities are spread out that there's areas of Adelaide that we're not there yet and we haven't touched. And the whole idea of what we're doing is we want everyone to be able to taste and experience our gelati. So to do that, sometimes you've got to go in different pockets that you hadn't explored yet. So yeah, definitely some new possible ventures coming soon. Yeah.
And the real question is why not? Like, exactly. I mean, you strive for excellence with the product. You strive for excellence with the product. What? You're just going to stop there? Yeah, of course you're going to grow. Yeah. Maybe that was a bad question. Sorry, guys, if that
not
was
at all.
A waste of 2 minutes. All right, next question. Speaking of opening up stores, I've got a story here about the fact that when you open your Paralawi Village shopping centre, you made over 1,000 sales in just 3 days. And now sales, that's on the POS system. That doesn't account for how many customers that might be. It might be one sale across a family of 4, which means you did very well on your first 3 days of opening. Yeah. I want to ask you about strategies you've learned. I mean, you're on store 6 now. I don't know what number Paralawi was, but you've definitely learned a way of getting things hot as you're growing. What's been your experience with that?
Look, in the very early days, we were involved with some PR consultants that helped us with things like media releases and that from that kind of landscape. In terms of promoting store openings and stuff like that, obviously there's a big component of giving away a fair bit on the actual day. So having, free ice cream for the day for opening days and really promoting and pushing for that. Everyone loves free gelati.
So the incentive is to get people there for free, but why?
Well, look, because we're so confident in the quality and the flavors of what it is that we're actually doing, the minute that you can get people trying it, you know that you've got a customer for a long period of time.
They'll come back.
They'll come back.
Yeah,
You just need someone trying it for the first time, and trying the experience for the first time as well, because we pride ourselves in making the experience different to other stores and other places, where food places and other hospitality places as well. So I guess the big idea is just getting as many people as you can through the door, putting the word out there. In all of our store openings, there's things that we could have improved on in terms of really maximizing that pre-launch phase. But the difficulty when it comes to when you're building your own stores and renovating your own stores, my partner was heavily involved in the renovations and things of each store. Sometimes you don't know the date of which, like, there's so many things that can happen in like that last 3 days that you can't really promote an opening day till kind of closer to, once all your ducks are in a row.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, the Paralawi store opening was just like, for our family, was just a big event in so many ways.
A pain in the bum is what you're saying?
So my dad ended up getting really sick. So he ended up getting appendicitis, and he didn't even know.
Oh, God.
He's probably going to kill me if I even bring this up.
Sorry, bro.
But there's an interview that you actually watched of my dad.
Yeah, I know.
And it was just before we opened Paralawi. And in the interview, like, he looks pale and he looks in pain.
He's dying.
He literally had a burst appendix on the day. He's like, no, I don't want to go to the doctors. We need to focus on the store opening. Anyway, so he wasn't even there at store opening. He was in the hospital for like 10 days. And I was so stressed having to do the opening, like me, my brother and my mum and my partner, we were pulling in all of our resources to be able to get the store opening done right. The show must go on. Then, because like you said, we had such a big influx, we were making gelati from morning till night. It was crazy. And in that time, I thought I was just super stressed. So I was really nauseous. And then I realized I was pregnant. So like, picked that up from the hospital. I'm like, oh, so you know how you want me to be working?
Yeah.
I'm going to be pregnant for 9 months now.
Oh.
So, but I mean, obviously I've got my beautiful babies now, but yeah, so a Paralawi opening was just an event within itself.
Very busy time.
Yeah.
Now, so you've established it. Actually, before I go on to the next topic, if you were to talk directly to the audience about the launching of a store or the launching of a new product or something that they want to get their eyes on, what I've heard from you in summary is, if your product is good, you should be doing anything you can to have people try it. And if that doesn't mean making money straight away, then so be it. Give the thing away, because if the product's good and your service is good and your systems are good enough to keep them, then they'll stay. The key is getting them there. So giving away product, timing your marketing well enough for the launch.
Yeah, as much as possible. Yeah.
Anything else?
And obviously collaborations is a big one as well. If you've got other people that are like-minded, even we would do things with neighbours in the area. We would have 2-for-1 specials when it comes to like different neighbours in any neighbourhood areas that we're just starting in. That was going to be really important as well. So yeah, definitely social media.
I like that.
Huge one.
Partnering with relevant businesses too. Let's say
relevant businesses and neighbours even. So you're bringing people to the area for a common purpose.
So let's say you're like a personal trainer, you're a PT, and you're about to launch your new offer. It might be online coaching, it might be in person, whatever the offer is. Yeah. On the day of the launch, you've got a strategy where you've only got 10 slots open, whatever happens. For those who sign up now, I'm also giving away 10 gift cards to this physio massage place. Yeah, and you get those for free.
Or it doesn't even need to necessarily be as specific. It could be there's a coffee shop right next to the door to the gym that you're opening. For the first time that you train with me, you'll get a free coffee on the way out. And like you have some kind of deal or collaboration that you do with them. So it doesn't
layers.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be super aligned with. It can be something that can be seemingly distant and separate.
It's interesting. I train Muay Thai, if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
And I've always thought to because I love looking at obviously mine's social media and food. Yours is Gelati. This my coach, I look up to him a lot. He runs his own Muay Thai business and he's got sponsors. So Muay Thai, right? I would think, what would the aligned sponsors be? I would pick, something to do with the gear that you have to use. Something to do with the stretching and recovery that you have to use. He's got sponsors of businesses all over Adelaide. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
These people are sponsoring us, and it didn't matter what the value that was brought from the sponsor. It's the fact that they're just around.
Yeah,
they're here.
And thinking about the activities of your target market unrelated to what it is that you're actually doing.
Like Gelati giving away a free tyre service for your car. Like, I know it's irrelevant.
Different. Yeah. But like I was mentioning, like, for example, the PT and the coffee things, like just because like for someone that's coming and getting a PT session, like that person also probably drinks coffee. Like thinking about buying patterns in a more general sense.
Yeah. They're still a human being with common human being needs.
Exactly. And human being needs. Yeah. Human needs.
Okay.
Human being needs. Human needs.
Get ready for this segue. I am the king of bad segues. Speaking of human needs.
I know what this is going to be about.
So you have obviously done a great job getting customers in regardless of the strategy, but you've done an even better job keeping your customers. I'm going to read out some quotes of feedback from your customers, and I want to break these down with you. Quote number 1. Lovely staff, lovely vibe, great range of choices. I had the soy Oreo and it was delicious. Love the way they are happy to let you sample them. Well worth a visit. Talk to me about the power of free scoops and taste testers, because I know that's massive in gelati, massive in ice cream. Personally, before you answer, I'm one of the few people who don't ask for a sample because I feel bad taking the free stuff. I just commit to a flavor and go for it. But I've seen every time I come to 48 Flavors as a customer, can I try that? Can I try that? Would you like to try that? Would you like? You're just giving away scoops like crazy.
So I think I feel like taste testing is separate and unique from people coming in for a free scoop. The way that I talk about taste testing, particularly with people that I'm training at work as well, is you're using the taste test to invite the customer into a conversation with you. It's very different. I always compare it to like if you're at a restaurant where you sit down, you can't really have the waiter sit next to you and be like, so how was your day? What are you doing? That kind of thing where you're developing a connection with the customer.
You're transitioning them from browsing to, I'm actually really interested now.
Exactly. So what you're doing is when you're offering these free tastes and when you're getting people excited about the product, you're at the end of the day, you're simply just engaging with them as much as possible. You're able to use your customer service skills, and then it comes to making a genuine connection and relationship with a customer. And like I always come back to when people come to a gelati store, you're not just selling the product, like you're selling happiness, you're selling an experience. You don't want to be miserable behind the counter while you're selling a happy product. So it's more of an excuse than anything else
to start talking,
to start talking, to start that relationship, and to get people excited about the flavor. And not only that, we might have 48 flavors available, but when you're pairing different flavors, it also becomes a whole nother flavor in itself. Like say, for example, and like my customers are amazing at this because they come up with different combos that make it taste like an entirely new experience, a entirely new flavor. Like I had a guy that would come in and we did this with the milkshakes with the salted caramel and green apple. And he said, this reminds me of a toffee apple like that I used to have as a kid. And as soon as I tried it, I'm like, oh my God, it's actually a completely different flavor.
It tastes so good.
Having green apple exclusively or having salted caramel exclusively, then having it together, it's an entirely new flavor within itself.
And you're saying it was all facilitated by the fact that you built that connection with the customer.
Exactly.
I'll let you try whatever you want. Go for it. Let's make something.
And at the end of the day, you want whatever people are going home with or even in the store with to actually love what it is that they're eating. So sometimes that takes a bit of trying before you're buying. Like we're not selling cars, but like it's the sort of thing where they might. And you get to know what customers' interests are as well. Like, are they chocolate fans? Do they like it's fresh fruit for them? Do they want to try something really interesting that they haven't tried before, they might not really see around before? So the process of doing taste tests is getting to know the customer, getting to know what it is that they actually like, and making sure that whatever flavor it is that they're choosing is one that they're going to love and they're going to come back for.
This goes all the way back to the jurying conversation about understanding the market. It's this idea of seems so obvious when I say it, but I go through this struggle even with the thing I'm building at the moment. Let's not do this blind. Let's not make a product and throw it out into the ether with our eyes closed. Why don't we just open our eyes and ask what people like? Exactly. It seems so obvious. And again, guys, we're talking about ice cream, but this applies to any business ever. Anything, whether it's a mini product inside of your overall brand or a specific service that you're offering within an overall thing that you do, just ask. And if you're unsure about what the answers might be, maybe give it away.
And there could be flavors that completely bomb. And at least you get feedback from customers sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I've given away 30 free tests of this flavour and no one likes it.
Exactly.
Full stop. So you talk about economies of scale, by the way. I'm asking this just because I wanted to ask the question, how many free samples do you give away per year? Because I can imagine it'd be silly. But then I thought to myself, you've said economies of scale. How many freaking wooden spoons is that per year?
It's a lot.
It's insane.
Good thing that we've changed to wooden spoons.
Yeah.
But look, I couldn't even tell you how many. It's not something that we really record.
Per day. Like, give me an average per day of just you, let alone your staff. Like, that's a lot.
It would look. Once again, it depends the time of day. It depends the store specifically. It depends if you're in season or not. Sometimes when it's crazy busy, people will avoid doing taste tests.
Because you're stopping, yeah.
Thankfully, there's some times where they're like, okay, I can see that like you're working and the store is absolutely packed. Maybe I won't try 6 taste tests before I buy. So you get some people that do you a solid from that respect.
Can you talk to me about the opposite? Sorry to interrupt, because I've got this idea in my head. Again, the reason I don't do it is I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, can I try that? Hey, can I try that? Can I try that? And the next thing you know, they've tried every flavour. Thanks.
Well,
and then they leave.
You know, it doesn't ever happen. Everyone always talks about like the people that come in for heaps of samples and don't buy. Like sometimes you'll get your like school kids that will kind of do that, and, like push the buttons where they can, or they didn't bring any money with them or whatever.
Oh, I'm not sure about that one.
It's so ridiculously rare. Everyone that comes in, like 9 times out of sometimes they'll sample heaps and then they'll get a completely different flavor. Like I find it funny when the ones will sample about 8 different flavors and like, I'll just have a scoop of the vanilla, thanks. It's like, really? Really, after all that?
I love that.
Hey, even the classics are great, so I don't want to like, you know.
Hey, but that's still a sale, and I've read here that maybe it was Brian who discussed it. The idea of a loss leader. A loss leader for a business is a pricing strategy where a product is sold below its market cost, free, in effort to stimulate other sales.
Yeah.
You talked about your milkshakes. I'm sure the milkshake average price is more so than just 1 scoop of ice cream. Essentially what I'm hearing is, hey, try the caramel, try the apple one.
Yeah.
You've tried them both, and because of that trial, they thought to do it in a milkshake. Now suddenly their average order value's actually gone up.
Yeah, exactly. And when you talk about loss leaders as well, it's also talking about having a bit of a variety in the cabinet. Obviously, you have some flavors that are naturally less expensive because of the ingredients that you're using, and some flavors that if you had just sold that flavor, you'd be making no money at all because they're ridiculously super expensive. But if you have that variety within the cabinet, you can kind of balance everything out to a degree. But for example, the pear fig and gorgonzola, even the durian itself, like they're really expensive products, but they serve their purpose for.
You're happy to make a loss on them if they visit the store, because if they visit the store, it's like Woolworths, right?
Yeah.
I read this somewhere. You know the Woolies roast chickens or the Coles roast chickens that everyone buys because it's so easy. They taste half decent. They're not shit.
Yeah.
You buy them. Apparently, Woolies and Coles make an absolute loss on those chickens, but it's the fact that you've gone into Woolies and Coles. If you're there to pick up that, there's a high chance you'll pick something else.
How many times have you ever gone to the supermarket and bought one thing?
Yeah.
Or let alone the thing that you actually intended to buy in the first place. So yeah, that's 100% true.
Okay, that's the product conversation. You've talked to me about customer service, but I got another quote here. Maybe you'll give me some opinions before we move to the next topic.
Yeah.
Quote 2, memory making is the best. Took friends' kids here a couple years ago just after their mum passed away. The staff were amazing and just blessed the kids. It was so good seeing a smile on their faces after such a dark time. What does that mean to you, and why? What is this a reminder to you that, wow, I really should like keep the customer service strong?
Look, at the end of the day, and it's not necessarily when it comes just as it relates to customer service, but like at the end of the day, you don't know what anyone is going through at any time, even just in conversations that you have with anyone. So that was really heartwarming for us because it's obvious that they didn't express that that's what had actually happened when it happened, but to be able to know that we created a fun, safe space for them where they actually got to just escape for a little bit is really special. So that was a really beautiful quote that I read as well from Facebook. Was that it? Yeah. Cool.
And I'm guessing that that's a reminder to anyone who owns a business out there that like, you know, these interactions that we speak of, yes, they are to sell ice cream and make money. But at the end of the day, like, The same way the testers are, yes, a loss leader, an opportunity to make money, they're also an opportunity to talk and make connections. And I guess most business owners, you don't realize, like, for me,
the power in it. It's
correct. For me, my business, for example, yes, I do sell videos to businesses or I collaborate with other businesses, but like my social media content, it's food that I share with you guys. But the amount of messages I get, you know, your quote on this really helped me with my struggle with this. Thank you so much. You know,
oh my God, think about how much advice you've given me in just our relationship together since doing a couple of collabs. Like,
you don't realize
it's huge. But when it comes to customer service, like at the moment, I feel like customer service just everywhere is dying. And I feel like it's one thing that I shouldn't say it's dying, but it's becoming harder and harder to go somewhere and get great customer service. And for that reason, I always explain to like my staff, we're in such a powerful spot to be that business or that stands out. Like my brother, as an example, everyone that comes in, he'll say, hey, how are you? What was your name? I'm Michael. And when they come in, he remembers their name. And if you go into a store and they've remembered you by name, had you not gone in there before, like people are going to come back whether they like your product or they don't. There's so much power in just giving people good customer service, making people feel valued, making people feel seen, and just different tools that will do. Like say, for example, in how to, when you're serving multiple people at once, like there'll be times where, all right, I'm getting a massive rush coming in and it's only me and one other person working. If I'm projecting my voice and I'm giving the crowd an experience versus serving the first two people in front of me, that makes the next two people already know what they want to buy when they're coming up. So like it's about...
That there was a trade secret, guys. She probably shouldn't have just said that. That's great 48 Flavours IP right there.
Yeah.
If you're busy, obviously you might not be able to mill through this line quick enough, and you don't want to lose people at the back of the line. Why serve the first two customers when you can say, yes, this vanilla is made from our X, Y, and Z, and then the people at the back are like, oh my God, did you know that vanilla is made from the X, Y, and Z?
Exactly. Sometimes it's just a matter of projecting your voice. But I find...
Wow, that's a little tip right there.
Yeah, but I find... I don't know whether it's like a lack of confidence in like the generation coming up or anything like that, but I feel like people find it really uncomfortable to just be salesy to an, like not that I would call it salesy, but to have confidence in communication. So communication's a massive one. Like that's why there'll be a lot of people that are either applying for a job or I've interviewed if they've got good communication skills, whatever they do with us, they'll be able to take alongside any venture that they go to in the future.
A key thing to look at there is in terms of sales is a lot of the time people look at sales the wrong way. Sales is just facilitating the way, okay, we're selling a product. That product is made to help people. Sales is just facilitating our way to help people. Have you noticed every time you go to Guzman Y Gomez or most sushi places, every time you say, can I please have this thing, they'll say, anything else? Anything else? And you say, then I'll have the water. And they'll say, anything else? And then you say, I don't know if it's a psychology thing that like every time they say anything else, I look back at the menu and order something else. Now I've gone in for 3 sushi rolls and I've left with 5. Yes, they've sold me. They've been salesmen, but I've actually received 2 more rolls of sushi solution.
Yeah, that's right.
But all it took was just the simple question. Because what if I did want more ice cream, but I was too shy to ask or I wasn't sure? The simple question, anything else? Or Macca's when you go to the drive-thru, is that all? Would you like anything else? Simple question. But order value goes right up.
In the wording though, like I communicate this to my staff as well. Like there's so much difference in saying, is that it? And is that all?
Yeah, small things like that.
Just like in being polite, like, is that all for today, sir? Versus, is that it? Like how many times you go to a place, when you get really bad customer service, you notice it. I mean, I always notice it. I don't know whether it's just because of the background, but you notice it when you don't feel valued or seen, or when someone's scanning your products and, hey, how was your day? Yeah. Like sometimes I just try and say like random stuff to see if they actually were listening or could respond. Like, yeah, my dog died today. Like to see whether they even heard me. Because it just becomes such a robotic interaction in so many other environments. That's why I've always wanted us to be like set apart.
I think with the way that the culture is at the moment and the way like just in general everything, that intention is the right intention of like, what's the way to put this? You just need to do a few simple things well, and you'll be all right. Like so many people aren't doing those simple things that you can stand out just asking someone how their day was.
And like even because of what it is that we actually sell, like we don't sell a specific need. Like people need to pay a parking fine. People don't necessarily need ice cream. Some people, they're not necessarily that they even want the product. Sometimes they just want the interaction. Some people will come, and we know that these regulars are coming because they love to actually come and have a chat with us. And that can be equally as important, equally as powerful as the product that you're actually selling.
We've done a lot of positive. We've done a lot of happy. We've done a lot of here's why we're awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be one long commercial. Technically it is because I'm about to announce something fucking awesome to you guys. But let's just balance things out just a little moment.
Yeah.
Negative feedback, negative reviews, anything that comes to your mind, anything you've learnt from said thing.
Yeah. Look, always going to get negative reviews, and that's for everyone in business at the moment. Like don't ever, if you've got a business that you never receive not one negative review for, then you're not getting enough sales in. It's always got to be. It's going to come. It's going to come no matter what. And I guess with anything like a lot of reviews we've had, like, oh, I know this sounds like such a cop out, but like you'll have people like, oh, that's too chocolatey, or that's too like. A lot of the times when people
that tastes like ice cream.
Yeah, sometimes when people are giving you a review, they're describing the fact that that flavor wasn't for them.
Right.
Which is totally fine, but it's not necessarily that the flavour isn't nice. It's just subjective.
It's not feedback, it's opinion.
Yeah, but when you've got feedback where, oh, the flavour tasted, I don't know, icy or too salt or something like that. That's the sort of feedback that we go to the team and say, okay, let's look at the batch, let's look at like everything that it comes to the ingredients. Can we make this? Some people say, oh, this flavour's far too sweet. Okay, how do we reduce the sugar content in that particular flavour?
Well, even that's pushing on opinion. Let's say something like, we've noticed that your 1 scoop cups are probably a bit small.
Or some people will say, I went in and they gave me a smaller scoop than when the first time I came in.
Yeah,
like
that's feedback.
That's feedback, and that's where portion control is so hard, but particularly when it comes to scoops. But that all comes back to training and like, okay, so of the staff that are working from this particular location, let's check in how big are their scoops. Are they giving big enough sizes? Do they feel confident to give big enough sizes? Different things like that. That's where having things like, from a service perspective, making sure everyone's got like name badges rather than saying, oh, that lady that served me on that day. And then you're trying to figure out, okay, well, I want to give feedback to this person, but I don't know who to give even positive feedback to. Like I love to be able to give positive feedback to staff as well if there's a positive review, but it makes it hard if no one's wearing a name badge and things like that. Being able to direct it and making sure people are quoting the store that they actually came. Like I went to 48 Flavours, hated it. It's okay. Which store did you go to? What flavour did you try?
How can we fix this?
How can we fix this type of thing? So it's taking everything with a pinch of salt and just being able to be taking the ego aside to be able to improve things where you can, but also acknowledging that you're going to have certain people that are going to not like certain flavours. So
my next question is in terms of competitors.
Yeah.
Adelaide's a small place. We have a lot of food culture here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of gelati places too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names because I love 48 Flavours and I actually meant
this
that.
This is not an ad.
Guys, I'm teasing this thing. We're getting close to this thing now. Anyway, I'm very proud. Anyway. How do you deal with competitors? How do you stand out? How do you be special within a place where people can drive in Adelaide 40 minutes to get anywhere? Which means ice cream spots are all closer to that.
Yeah. Look, I think once again, it kind of comes back to the range, making sure that you're being innovative when it comes to creating new and exciting flavors, doing new and exciting collaborations. Keeping relevant when it comes to that respect.
Should we just fuck the competitors?
Go.
Guys, I have my own flavour at 48 Flavours. It's going to be out in all of the stores at 48 Flavours for 3 days only. It's called, obviously you guys can see the sign.
Can we did you bring any side effects?
You want that?
Sound effects?
Hold up, shit. Guys, it's going to be out for 3 days in all of their stores. There will be proper announcements with proper advertising that you can see, but this is me candidly saying, holy shit, my G. Oh, you've been practicing your dat. Good. We are collaborating in a cooler way than I've ever seen anyone do, especially here in Adelaide. So often, influencers or creators will just be like, I like 48 Flavours, you should go to 48 Flavours, go and try it. And I'm not saying I haven't done that with businesses before, but I like 48 Flavours so much that I have made my own flavour called Notoriously Crunchy, okay? Steph, should we tell them about it? Should we talk about it? What is it? How did this come about?
I mean, we've got it.
We've got it, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Talk to me about how this came about. We've worked together before, but what is this?
So, wanting to do the thing that I wanted to, did you just, I can't even hear what it is that you did because I've got the headphones on. Was that just like a boom?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to do a flavour with you because we've been following you for ages. Following you, that sounds a bit creepy and stalkerish. We've loved what you've done for a long period of time. But the thing that I thought would be really cool about this type of collaboration is the fact that you've done cookbooks, you've done things where people can try way by creating what it is that you've created when it comes to certain recipes, but no one has actually been able to eat what it is that you've made.
In real life
form. So that's where I thought it was just going to be such a unique kind of collaboration because it will be the first time people can try Rocky Road. Should I say that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just to try the Rocky Road that you created in a completely new and different way. And what we're doing together, I know this sounds so salesy, but what we're doing together just cements what it is that we actually do. So we take a flavor, we take a concept, we take a dessert or whatever it is, and we deconstruct and make it taste amazing in a gelati.
Guys, the flavor, let's talk about it and let's talk about how we got there. I thought of a rocky road because I love rocky roads and I've always liked bits inside of ice cream. So I made honeycomb, homemade honeycomb. It's crunchy, it's delicious, it's got that caramel note to it. I then crushed that honeycomb up and then put it through a classic rocky road. We've put Hague's chocolate in it. It's really high quality chocolate, mixed through the raspberries, mixed through some hazelnuts, mixed through some marshmallows. And it is
This is probably the flavor we've mixed the most.
Yeah, there's so much stuff in there.
There is so much in there.
But
it is literally a mouthful.
With Marcus.
With Marcus.
Make sure to subscribe. This has become the longest ad.
So cliche now.
But guys, there'll be B-roll on the screen if you're a visual watcher. If you're an audio watcher, imagine like a jewel. It's got red, it's got gold, it's a colourful, beautiful. Honestly, I'm so proud. I feel like I've had my first child. It looks so good, and it tastes so good. We have then taken that Rocky Road, broken it up, and then mixed it through 48 Flavours ice cream, which is one of my favourite flavours. Can we tell them what flavour it is?
Yeah.
Hazelnut ice cream. The combo works.
Are you talking about like the base?
The actual.
Yeah.
It's got chocolate mixed through it. It's got hazelnut mixed through it. I'm listing all of the sales points like I'm a salesperson, but I genuinely am so proud. We made it for the first time the other day. It is coming out on Friday, the 26th of July. It'll be available for 3 days only, so make sure to go and visit it.
From all 6 stores.
Ad placement.
Yeah, from all 6 stores. You can get it at all stores.
But genuinely, we made it the other day. Honestly, like, I know I said this to you in person when we were filming, but like, I felt like butterflies seeing this thing, knowing that like...
I know, it's super exciting.
It's a cool collaboration, the fact that people can actually try it.
And it looked so pretty, like, especially with the raspberry as well. It looked super pretty.
What have you learned from the collaborative way of working with somebody else on a flavour? Is there anything that... Or it's just been systems go?
It's been all systems go, but just in the... We've had one thing that we've been working towards, but in that one thing, just in us developing a great relationship with each other, like I've called you about some things that have been completely unrelated from a marketing sense. Like I've been able to just, in terms of these collaborations, the power in these collaborations more than anything is just, what's the freaking word for it? When you're not pulling in other resources, when you go to a party and you... Oh my God, why can't I think of the word?
I feel like I know what you're saying.
Like you're meeting people with similar objectives, similar businesses, and you're... Oh, there's a word for it.
You know what I was thinking? It's the fact that, you know, we've done a milkshake collaboration on my Instagram and TikTok before. We've made brownies, which I, you know, paired with your ice cream in a video. We've been working, this flavour has not seen the light of day, despite the fact that we came up with this like 3 months ago. We've been planning this, putting our heart, soul, passion into this.
And there's always going to be like trial and error runs. Okay, if this worked, this didn't work. And obviously with the flavour itself, you need to make sure that whatever is put into the gelati from a variegate sense, you're going to make sure that it tastes good over time. Like it's if it doesn't get sold on day
We've worked
one.
so hard on getting.
Making sure the texture's right, making sure that the pieces and the chunks that we're putting in it aren't too hard or good to taste, all that kind of stuff.
We're on batch 3 of Rocky Road, just in the testing phase. Like we've perfected this thing. But the thing I really like more so, and this is credit to you, where I was going with the thing before, was it's very easy to collaborate and promote someone or promote something or say, I like this, and you put your flag in the sand.
Yeah.
The thing I've liked about the fact, yes, it's been a grueling 3 months of calls, nappy. I keep using the nappy. Sorry.
The tantrums, even in the car yesterday when you called me, what was he saying? He's got this thing. He says, "G'day, mate. G'day, mate." So I'm like, every business phone call I'm on, I'm hearing "G'day, mate" in the background. It's like a parrot.
The thing I like most is regardless of the product, I know you guys are going to love it. Friday, 26th of July. I know you guys are going to love it. I've put my heart and soul into this, but the key is that we talk a lot about relationships. You know, relationships with your staff, relationships with your customers.
Yeah.
We have come so far together, and I love the fact that we're at this level that we can just chat shit on a podcast.
Yeah.
Compared to most other places where I take money, I promote you, full stop, thank you, great job. Hey audience, I like this place.
Well,
Whereas this one, we are like, I know you, Steph.
Yeah.
I like 48 Flavours so much, I'm willing to put my stuff in it. You know what I mean?
Was even in the development phase of working out what it is that you were actually going to create that would then go in the gelati. There was so many different ways that we could go, as you know.
We started
but things
with so
that
many other
wouldn't
ideas.
wouldn't have been authentic for you to make, might have tasted amazing in a flavour, but it needed to be something that you loved to make, you loved the product that it was that you were actually making, and that it would be something that would appeal to a wide variety of people as well. So that was another component.
You're saying we've considered above and beyond it just tasting good. This is something that I actually eat in real life. It's something I vibe with.
Authentic. Yeah.
Honestly, I was going to get it out and try it, but there'll be B-roll on the screen.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, guys, I really want you to try it, and we've talked all day in this podcast about giving things away for free just to get you to try it. I am so confident. There you go. This is poetry. This is cover. I'm so confident that you guys are going to like it that I will do anything I can to get you guys to come in. Obviously, if you check my Instagram and TikTok, there'll be marketing all over the place. If you leave a comment below on this podcast, we will give you a $50 48 Flavours discount voucher that you can use on any of their flavours. So that's something that I want to extend to you. And I want to thank you all for being here, because this stuff's not really possible without you guys. But hopefully this is like a thank you. Eat my flavour or something. Any comments? Because I'm reaching the end of the podcast. I'm happy with how this is going.
Have we reached an hour? Are we
We
at that stage?
are well and truly, yeah.
Really? Oh my God.
And you were nervous, Steph.
I was so nervous.
You have kicked ass.
I was so nervous. Thank you.
Actually, let's make it less about us. Just by the way, it's the best flavour on the planet. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
Last question, final.
Yeah.
If you could give one specific tip or one tip that you've learned over your time in business to the people listening right now, what would the main thing be that's gotten you through your time?
Do I have to pick one?
One thing that's really served you the most.
I feel like you've got to take, like, just from what we were talking about with flavors like durian and things like that, you've got to consider your target market. You've got to take the ego out of it. And I'm still learning to this day when it comes to a social media perspective, putting the face back to the brand a little bit and getting behind the camera and feeling a little bit more confident to do that, taking the fear and the ego aside of what are people are going to think if I get behind the camera and do a live and things like that. So
feedback is your friend.
Yeah, just leaning into it with confidence in your own abilities, staying consistent, and just making sure that you've got a product that you're proud of. And at the end of the day, if you've got a product that you're proud of, the rest is marketing and systems and getting people to taste it. So
100%.
Yeah.
My G. How's
we
it going?
got it. We did it.
Mine would be, if I were to leave one, it would be, I've got it tattooed on my leg, show up. It's two very, very simple words, but like you'll find regardless of whether you're a business person or you're a life person, because you're alive and you're listening to this, life is going to give you struggles no matter what, full stop. Prerequisite to life, being alive has struggles in it. And the one thing that's got me through, no matter what skills I've learned, no matter what techniques or strategies I've used to do so, it's just rocking up to the table in the first place, full stop, as much as possible.
Yeah.
We talk about reps at the start of the podcast. If you can just be there, you are 100% more likely to figure out the problem than if you weren't.
Business can be grueling. Like, you've got to be in it for the long haul.
Anyway, speaking of showing up, Friday 26th of July, 6 stores, Paralawi, McGill, Henley Beach, Guja Street, Fulham Gardens, we've got one more, and Hyde Park. Oh my God, I know 48 Flavours so well. I know all of their places.
Mind you were asking me this in a freezer the other day. You were asking me to rip off all the stores. I'm like,
guys, that is that. Show up to 48 Flavours, try the ice cream. My G, Steph, good work.
Thank you for having me.